The honourable member for Dartmouth North.
Mr. Speaker, my question is for the Minister of Environment. It's been almost a month and a half since the Nova Scotia Power oil spill at Tufts Cove in Dartmouth North. The last we heard, the cleanup was supposed to be completed by mid-September. It is now mid-September, and the cleanup appears to be ongoing, and no one is getting any updates from either Nova Scotia Power or the Department of Environment. Department staff have said that Nova Scotia Power is keeping them informed, and so, since no one is volunteering the information, I have to ask, can the Minister tell us why the cleanup is not yet complete and when it will be complete?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll thank the honourable member for the question. Tufts Cove has certainly been top of mind and certainly has been newsworthy the last few weeks. We do still have a site professional on board, or the company has hired a site professional. They report on a regular basis to the Department of Environment. We do know where this is standing. We know that it's a long, tedious process now to remove some of the oil that's on the coastline, but it is proceeding at a slower pace than we had hoped. Thank you.
The honourable member for Dartmouth North.
Mr. Speaker, Nova Scotians rely on the Environment Department to act as a watchdog so that we can trust that Nova Scotia Power is acting safely and responsibly. But for many of my constituents, this has been another example of the department acting more like a public relations firm for the industry. The minister's comments have prioritized applauding the company's efforts and minimizing public concerns. It's troubling that the minister has said her department has no plans to investigate the state of the pipe at the time it burst or why it had deteriorated, and I can table that. So my question is, how can the minister assure the public that a spill like this will not happen again?
The Honourable Minister of the Environment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the honourable member for the rebuttal on that question. You know, certainly, the Nova Scotia environment is my first concern and will always be my first concern. You know, we know that this spill has happened in Tufts Cove. We know that the site professional, they're duty bound to make sure that this is remediated and cleaned up as much as possible. And of course, nobody, I mean, when you start looking at the company themselves or any company that has a spill, it's very expensive to have a spill. And certainly, we expect companies to maintain their equipment and make sure that this doesn't happen. But in light of when it does happen, we make sure that we do have the people on the ground and reporting to our department to let us know how the cleanup is going. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.